The New World devs have recently put out a whopping 40-minute dev update video covering the new expansion, and I know most of you don't have 40 minutes to watch the entire thing, so I'll break it down and summarize everything we know so far. Also, if you did want to watch the dev update, I'll have a link in the description below. So first off, we got more information on mounts and how it'll work. It's not just as simple as getting a mount and you're good to go. There's going to be a quest tied to it. I believe you have to be level 25 to see the first quest, and then a mount icon will appear on your map. You go complete the quest and you'll unlock horses, and then as you get higher in level, you'll unlock wolves and lions. Along with that, you can tame mounts. So once you have the mount unlocked, you can go out in the world and tame those different types of mounts. So you can tame horses, wolves, and lions. There's a progression system tied to the mounts, so you can level up your mounts. You'll start off at a slower speed, but as you level it up, your mount will get faster and faster. There's also unique items you can craft and maybe find out in the world that you can equip to your mount, and you can kind of show them off so your mounts will look different. And on top of that, you can also name your mount. Next on our list is character progression. The current max level in the game is level 60, and it's increasing to 65. Apparently it's not going to be like a slog or a grind to get to 65. They said you'll just naturally get to level 65 doing like the main story quest line. They're also adding more attributes and threshold bonuses, as well as a gear score increase to level 700. The current gear score, you have to use an expertise system to slowly slog to get to level 600 with your gear, which is pretty annoying for most people. And then once you get 600, you use umbral shards to level them up even further to like 625. But with the new expansion, they're removing expertise completely, and they're also removing umbral shards. But don't worry, if you have umbral shards, they're going to convert into gold, I believe. We're not sure what the conversion ratio is just yet. And the new way to get gear up to 700 is just based off the content you do. There's also loot biasing, which means there's going to be less gear that drops, but the gear that drops will matter, and it'll kind of take into consideration what you're currently wearing. So if you have specific attributes equipped along with specific gear type, then your loot will kind of focus in on that, and it'll drop based off of what you currently have equipped. There's going to be a trade skill increase from 200 to 250, which means a few things. The way it currently works is once you hit 200, you can keep going past 200 and it'll reset to 1, 2, 3, and you get rewards based off of that. Those numbers will still be there, but you won't see them until you hit 250, and then they'll come back and you keep progressing those numbers as it is now. There's going to be new gathering and refining items in the game. So things like runic leather that you can only craft a certain amount of them per day, those will no longer be the highest tier item. There's going to be some tiers past that. So I'm not sure if those will be time-based anymore or if the new ones will be. Crafting will be more viable, so you can make kind of exactly what you want, your perfect god roll, but there'll be a time limit on how many things you can craft, and you'll have to use a new resource called a prismatic scarab. And lastly, on the character progression side, the faction rank is going up to 6, so there'll be new faction rewards to chase after. And speaking of rewards, we have the new weapon next. It's the Flail. You can use it with a shield. The left tree is like healing allies while debuffing enemies, kind of like a cleric. And the right tree is you being a tank and also buffing your allies, which seems kind of like a paladin. The flail itself is a melee weapon, but it has some range to it, and there's some pretty unique animations that come with it. There's also a new tier of item that are called artifacts. This is kind of like an exotic. If you play Destiny or Destiny 2, you can have one equipped in each slot. So you can have one armor piece, one weapon, and one jewelry. These will be red and they'll have completely unique perks. So each piece will have its own perk in the game that you can't get anywhere else, but you don't instantly get those perks. You have to unlock them doing quests. So when you equip the artifact, a quest will pop up on your screen and it'll tell you what you need to do. Kill X amount of monsters, and it'll complete that quest all the way until you unlock all the perks. And then the very last unique perk is going to be kind of a harder quest, like completing a specific expedition or something. The baseline expeditions are now going to be a lot easier. They're calling them story mode, allowing anyone to complete them just to understand the mechanics. And then from there, they're going to get much harder. They're going to have 3 levels of mutations. Currently in the game, there's 10. And there's a lot of like dead space, so it's hard to find people to do like a level 3 mutation or something, or a level 7 mutation. But with 3 levels, it's going to be a lot easier. There'll be 1, which is kind of hard. 2 is going to be pretty hard. And then 3 is going to push you past your limits. And it's going to be like probably one of the hardest things in the game. There's also a new expedition coming called the Savage Divine, with elemental beast lords and crazy new mechanics. And with the new expedition will come a new heart rune called Primal Fury. It turns you into a beast, and I think there's like 2 different modes. One is like you become more enraged, you do more damage, but you receive more damage. And then the other one, you're basically tankier, but you deal less damage. There's also some, they said, features slash maybe bugs, I don't know, that when you're in beast mode, you can do certain things. Like you can see your character sheet. If you pull up your inventory, you'll be in beast mode in your character sheet, as well as flipping over tables. Not sure what that means. But yeah, with the new expansion comes a new zone. So it's similar to the Brimstone Sands with how it progresses. You do like quests and you'll unlock these things, which in Brimstone there was like runes you had to go around and find, which unlock new areas. But with this place, there's going to be beast lords that you have to interact with. There's a bunch of new enemy types. There's going to be 2 ECRs, which if you don't know, those are elite chest runs. There's going to be one in the north, which is kind of bigger, and it's kind of built for mounts and has a bunch of puzzles. And there's also one in the south. The zone itself has these spores, which are kind of like the sulfur mechanic from Brimstone, which you will have to like upgrade your character in a certain way. It's going to be kind of like the sulfur ponds, where you have to have a certain amount of resistance to open the chest in the sulfur ponds. Otherwise, you'll just die before you can open it. Along with the expansion will be Season 3. There's going to be new story, Season Pass. Eden Grove will be becoming an ownable territory with a settlement, and they're going to be changing it up a bunch. There used to be some, like an elite chest run there, which is getting taken out but replaced with like a 1-player trial, I believe, and it'll still have some of those jumping puzzles in it. And the whole Eden Grove thing is free for everyone. So if you already own the game, you can just jump in and go check out the new settlement in Eden Grove. PvP is probably one of the big ones. There's these new things called influence races. There's going to be 3 that are scheduled daily. And what it is there's going to be 3 capture points around the territory, and it'll last for 45 minutes. You have to go around the zone and capture these points and also do your faction quests. And the faction quests will also be kind of near these points, as well as the whole capture the fort thing. But the fort now, when you capture it, it's going to be locked for an hour. So you'll be able to hold on to those fort rewards for at least an hour, and then it'll be recapturable. So you have to defend it. And the faction with the most influence over that 45-minute period for the influence race will be able to start a war with the territory after the race ends. I'm sure we'll get some more information getting closer to the launch of the expansion. We got about a month until the release, and I know the PTR is coming soon, and it's only going to be for a very short time. So if you want to jump into that, make sure you get in on time. They haven't actually announced the date for it, so just be on the lookout for that. And I'm planning on covering more games and news, so make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.